Yeah, sorry about that. I wanted to try and use a fresh joke, but then I realized I don't know sign language. Anyway, hey everybody, welcome back to an episode of The Elite, the Elite Count. I'm War Machine MJ, and last time I started off one of these videos, I talked about something negative. So, I'm going to start this video off by talking about something positive. Because, well, we all know about the mass restructure of WWE that happened Wednesday. And I'm going to talk about two guys that actually got out of the company prior to that over the weekend, and it was just, it didn't feel depressing. It felt like a giant weight has been lifted. I am, of course, talking about the former Revival. The former. Because, yeah, they've been let out of their... they've been let out of their contracts. Of course, they're on the 90-day no-compete clause, which, I mean, I don't see why you need that, considering the landscape of wrestling is pretty much dead, with the exception of AEW, who have their shows all taped up, all the way up until Double or Nothing. Impact Wrestling has 12 weeks of TV taped up in the span of 3 days, which that is impressive. And WWE is deemed an essential business in the state of Florida. But, I digress. Well, Friday, April 17th, it's been reported on, or actually, I think early yesterday, or late yesterday, it was announced what the Revival's new name could be. You know, their team name. We already know what their new individual names are going to be, and yeah, Dash Wilder has been changed to Cash Wheeler, which that's a pretty cool name. And then Scott Dawson's been changed to Dax Harwood. It'll grow. It'll grow. But you know they've been kind of the smart guys in this one, because they trademarked a lot of different names, or you know, a lot of different key phrases like FTR, FTRKO, Shatter Machine, Forever the Revival, or something like that. But one that could be their new name. One of the trademarks that they filed is Fear the Revolt. So their new name could be The Revolt, which I'm down for it. That sounds like a pretty cool name. I mean, are they gonna dress like American colonists from 1776, fight the evil British Empire? I don't know. Only time will tell. We can only speculate where the two are going to go from here. Honestly, the sky's the limit for these guys. I mean, they could go to Impact, take on such great teams as... I don't watch Impact, so... They could go to Ring of Honor, take on the Briscoes, and... I don't watch Ring of Honor either. They could go to NWA and take on those hot new prospects, the Rock and Roll Express, or the Wild Cards, or... Huh, they really don't have a diverse tag team division. I was going to say Colt Cabana and Ken Anderson, but Colt Cabana's on AEW now. Boom, boom. Hell, they could go to New Japan, compete in Tag League. See them against Evil and Sonata, GOD. Yeah, sky's the limit. But we all know where they want to go. They want to have that match against the Young Bucks, which I'm down for it. So yeah, can't wait to see where those guys go from here. Now, speaking of AE dubs, of course, this is the elite, the elite count. Don't worry, your video's not off. I'm just off. Anyway, here we go with the. Okay, all right. Here we go with the quick and dirty episode of AEW. Of course, again, I have taken a couple weeks off, so that's why there hasn't been any new episodes of the 3 count or the elite count. So just a quick recap of the past couple of weeks of AEW's. They announced a TNT Championship tourney, which is basically the mid card title, and it's a first round, a second round, a first round, quarterfinal, semifinal, and finals with two sides of the bracket. The left side, it's Cody versus Shawn Spears, in which Cody won with by pinning Shawn Spears with a figure 4 leg lock. I cannot make this up. I give them points for originality. On the other side of the bracket, well, in that same bracket is Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara. Then on the other side of the bracket, it's Dustin Rhodes taking on Kip Sabian, and Colt Cabana, boom, boom, taking on Lance Archer. Speaking of Lance Archer, he made his debut in the 2 weeks ago. He made his debut, and oh boy, I'm loving the presentation for this dude, because at least one time during his entrance, he will find one person and knock them the hell out. I don't think he did it when he debuted, but the next week he booted a cameraman in the face. It's just great. His debut match 2 weeks ago, he annihilated the guy. Then the match, then last week's match was against Marco Stunt, where he annihilated that kid. And then afterwards, he threw him into the crowd. I'm loving the presentation for Lance Archer. It's just awesome. Of course, we got more. We had another promo from Brody Lee. You know, keeping you guys up to speed. There are more McMahonisms in that promo, because he yells at a guy for falling asleep. There's another promo where he's talking to 3 Dark Order dudes. There's one guy who's wearing a Dark Order suit, but he's got a tie on. And then he just berates the other 2, because, you know, one has a wrinkled suit, the other has a tear suit, like a torn suit. So, there was a Chris Jericho promo from his home in Florida, where he once again tried the hard sell to Vanguard 1. And then when Vanguard 1 made off with one of the Inner Circle shirts, Jericho unleashed his dogs. You can tell Jericho's having fun. There was a promo from Matt Hardy, basically challenging Chris Jericho or any member of the Inner Circle to a match at the Hardy compound, which Impact did a whole episode there, so it's feasible. Speaking of Chris Jericho, he's been having fun because he's been on commentary with Shivani, or as he calls him, Schiavone, and he's just been an absolute riot on commentary, and it is awesome. You can tell the two of them are just having loads of fun. As far as Blood and Guts, the blood and guts steel cage match is concerned, that is still up in the air. Like, they barely reference it on TV anymore. Like, it's just subtle throwaway lines. So, yeah. And like I said, they are taped up all the way to Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing is going to proceed as planned. Who knows if that's going to be in the original location, which is the MGM Grand, or if they're just going to be at the Nightmare Factory, QT Marshall's wrestling school in Georgia. Who knows what the plan is? So far, all they said is it's going to go on as scheduled. So next, well, kick off this week's show, we had two vignettes running where it's Jake the Snake talking up his client, the Murder Hawk Lance Archer, and giving some props to Colt Cabana. Boom, boom, and of course we had the aforementioned Boom Boom talking about Lance Archer. In fact, that match kicked off this week's show. It was a TNT Championship Tournament semifinals. No, it's quarterfinals. Yeah, Uprocks has had it wrong. Anyway, quarterfinal match, Colt Cabana, Boom Boom taking on Lance Archer. This was a fairly competitive match. There were several instances throughout this whole thing where Lance Archer was dominating, and Colt Cabana would break up some of that momentum, but in the end, Colt Cabana, Boom Boom, ate a choke slam and a blackout for Lance Archer to secure his spot in the tourney. And he will take on the winner of Kip Sabian and Dustin Rhodes, which will be next week, right? Yes. Oh no, both quarterfinal matches are going to be on next week. Anyway, next we had a promo from Dr. Britt Baker, who's claiming that she's going to be a role model of the AEW division. Gee, where have I heard that gimmick before? Afterwards, she had her in-ring return against Cassandra Golden. Not much of a match here. She just kind of embarrassed Cassandra Golden and finished her off with a curb stomp while Cassandra was biting on the rope. Next we had the Bubbly Bunch. It was supposed to be a Brady Bunch joke, but it was the Inner Circle and conference call with each other, just taking the piss out of the Elite. So yeah, next we had Sammy Guevara of the Inner Circle taking on Shug G, which Jericho has been calling him for the past couple of weeks. Pineapple Pete, because he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt with pineapples on there. Not much of a match. Sammy Guevara got the victory with a fireman's carry into a knee. He just kind of toyed around with Shug G. Afterwards, Sammy Guevara said he's going to beat the shit out of that face-painted freak, referring to Darby Allin. And then he proceeded to try and to hit Shug G with a very weak-looking Danielson stomps. Of course, Darby Allin made the save. Next, we had Kip Sabian taking on Chuck Taylor of the Best Friends. Of course, Chuck Taylor wasn't there with Trent. He was there with freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. Long and the short of it, Kip Sabian got the victory over Chuck Taylor with some assistance from Penelope Ford and apparently good friend Jimmy Havoc. Next, we had Shawn Spears defeating Justin Law. And then they did a roundup for next week's show. Darby Allin taking on Sammy Guevara. Winner will face Cody in the TNA Championship tourney. And also, Kip Sabian taking on Dustin Rhodes. Winner will face Lance Archer. Of course, Kenny Omega is going to be in action. We're going to hear from Brody Lee, the Exalted One. And Orange Cassidy will take on Jimmy Havoc. And finally, that led to the main event, which was the No Holds Barred Empty Arena AEW World Championship match, as Jon Moxley defended against the Inner Circle's heater, Jake Hager. Jake Hager. Jake Hager. Throughout the show, there were different people weighing in on who's going to win this match. I know it was pretty obvious where they were going with this, because all the people that were pulling for Jake Hager was Sammy Guevara, Santana, and a bunch of the Bellator MMA guys, and an ESPN dude that was just reading off of a script. And all the people that were pulling for Mox was Taz, Excalibur, a couple of other people, and Ron Funches, comedian Ron Funches, who is just an absolute huge wrestling fan, loves them Young Bucks. But yeah, this was a fantastic match. They brawled all over the arena. They had JR and JR alone on the call. And he was a bit ahead on the calls, because there was a spot where Jake Hager, was dropping the chair on Mox, and JR reacted to it before it even happened. So he was just a tiny bit ahead, but didn't detract away from it. The only gripe I had about this match was the camera picking up the fans from inside the arena. That was the only gripe about that. Other than that, I thought it was a fantastic match. They brawled all over the spot. There was this great spot where they were in the crowd. Of course, they were at Daly's place for this match, but they were in the seating area of the crowd, where Mox locked in a figure 4 leg lock around the handrails going up the steps. It's pretty good. Afterwards, towards the finish, Mox retained the championship with a chair shot into the paradigm shift on the chair. He is still the AEW World Champion. He turned away from the Big Hurt. He turned away the Big Hurt. And who knows when Chris Jericho is going to get his revenge. So, yeah, that's the quick and the dirty of AEW, as well as catching everybody up to speed on what's been happening. So, that being said, if you miss Rod's opinions, he has a podcast that he's doing from quarantine. It is Prime Talk with Rodimus Prime on the CastBox app. Go check it out. You don't have to see his ugly face, but you can hear his opinions. And boy, howdy does he have a lot of opinions. I mean, it's hard to have a lot of opinions on a sports podcast when there's no sports going on. So yeah. Anyway, that being said, I'm War Machine MJ, the face of the 3 Count Mafia, coming to you from wonderful 3 Count Studios, and I will see you guys next time. Stay safe, wash your hands, and wash your ass. See ya.